The NBA draft is a chance for teams to add young talent for the present and future of the franchise, and usually one of the big factors in the draft is how prospects fit with each team, which is a factor when it comes to if a team drafts a certain player or not depending on the draft range. However, when it comes to Michigan wing Jett Howard, you kind of just throw that out the window because there isn't a team in the NBA that he doesn't fit on. The 6'8 freshman and son of former NBA All-Star Juwan Howard has a combination of three-point shooting, on and off-ball scoring versatility, connecting playmaking, and feel for the game that would give him a role on just about all 30 NBA teams. But he isn't just a high-floor, low-ceiling prospect either. I believe he has star upside. I also think he has a case for potentially being a top 5 player in the 2023 NBA draft. Jett Howard has an argument for being the best shooter in a draft that has a lot of good shooters. In fact, I would argue this is the best shooting draft as far as one-and-done prospects go over the last 10 years. He is a decently efficient, high-volume three-point shooter, but what makes him special is his shot profile. Howard has a combination of off-ball ability and on-ball creation. He's a good pull-up shooter, he's good off the catch, he has good shooting touch from just about every level, he has potential to be an absolutely deadly off-movement shooter, he has pretty good shot selection as well, doesn't really force the issue based off what I've seen on tape, and while he's capable of scoring on multiple levels, I do think it's safe to say three-point shooting has been the emphasis of his offense as a freshman, as it's where most of his scoring volume comes from. Being a good shooter at 6'8 is one of the most translatable skills in the NBA, and one of the reasons why Jett is such a high-floor prospect. Three-point shooting might be the reason Jett is a high-floor prospect, but his potential as an on-ball creator and playmaker is why I believe he's a top 10 lock and a top 5 player as of right now. Jett has a lot of good handle indicators, he's shifty and has a funky movement skill in a good way, and his feel for the game as a creator is really good as well. His understanding of how to make plays coming off a screen or dribble handoff is really good. He's capable of scoring off pull-ups and drives on these actions, but he's also capable of beating the roll man or making the kick as well. He leverages his shooting gravity very well for a scoring wing, and that's a valuable skill to have. Jett isn't just capable of making plays off of these actions. In a way, he's mastered the understanding of how and when to make plays in these actions. His combination of shot creating upside and playmaking skills, as well as feel for the game, is something that I believe gives him legit star upside, especially when you combine that with a knockdown shooting ability at 6'8". Now defense is something where I see promise, but he's far from perfect. He's a bit flat-footed and doesn't have great lateral quickness on defense, which does mean he struggles with quicker guards and wings, and there is some off-ball defensive awareness lapses with him at times on tape. However, he has a great motor on defense, which is always a great sign, and really the number one thing you look for on defense when you look at potentially good defenders, and his motor is there. And I also think that he's far from a liability on defense as well, and he has potential to be a pretty good stocks guy as far as getting steals and blocks for a wing. I don't think Jett will be an elite defender like prime Kawhi or Paul George, but I do think that he can at the very least be a decent defender that isn't a liability, even with some of the struggles I see on tape now. And with a few tweaks, I think he could actually be a pretty good defender. When I talk about prospects, I usually talk about team fits, especially in the range they're going to be drafted. But like I mentioned in the intro, Jett fits on every team in the league because his skill set is something that almost every team finds valuable. In fact, I actually think there isn't a team in the league that doesn't find his skill set valuable. So I believe he's going to be drafted by a team that likely gives him an opportunity to earn minutes early on if he goes a bit later in the draft, but I believe he's going to get drafted in a range where he's going to be a day one starter. This might be a hot take, but as of right now, Jett Howard is my number 5 prospect in this draft, behind Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, and the Thompson twins. I believe he has a combination of translatable day one skills, high floor, and high upside to justify taking in the top 5. He's a 19-year-old 6'8", 215-pound wing that's a knockdown shooter, has on-ball creation and playmaking feel as well as the upside and defensive potential. His floor as a player to me is a spot-up movement shooter that can be a connecting passer with solid defense. His ceiling as a player is one of the most versatile scoring wings with one of the most dangerous shot profiles in basketball, on top of having the ability to handle secondary playmaking reps and be a good defender. If that's not an outcome that meets the value and is worth taking in the top 5, I don't know what is worth taking in the top 5. That's not just a player any team would want, that's what a star wing in the modern NBA looks like, and I believe Jett has that kind of ceiling. Now, only time will tell if he reaches his ceiling, and I'm not saying he's a top 5 lock. I do think that there are plenty of players in his draft range tier-wise that could challenge for that number 5 spot. But I also believe he's one of the safest players in the draft based off his high floor and baseline skill set, but he's not just a safe pick, he's also someone that has potential and is an upside play as well, and I believe that combination gives him an edge over some of the other prospects and why he's number 5 on my board as of today. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. How good do you think Jett Howard will be? Do you think his ceiling is that high? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where do you think he'll go in the draft? Where do you have him ranked? Love to hear all of that, so leave a comment if you want to. Also, I just want to let you guys know, tonight I'm going live on Playback watching Knicks vs Celtics at 7:30. I'll be joined by Desmond Novak. He writes stuff for New York sports teams and he also has his own YouTube channel. I'll link his YouTube channel in the comments section below. And I'll link my Playback channel to know when we go live at 7:30. We're going to have a lot of fun. Desmond's a really awesome guy, so always wanted to do a project with him, and I guess this is kind of a project. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and hopefully I'll see you guys tonight to watch Knicks vs Celtics.